Well, hello again from the snug upstairs in Maddens Bar in Belfast City. Fáilte hig podcréilú na seachtaine seo is mór againn warnéisteacht. Thanks to everybody who's listened so far to the Music at Maddens Podcast. I'm Lynette Fay, delighted to host this podcast each week. And the response to the idea and the conversations that we're having has been just brilliant. And that's thanks to all our guests who come and sit down in this snug and have a chat that could go absolutely anywhere. Not looking at anybody, could go anywhere. Because that's how comfy it is in here in the snug. So do subscribe, give us a rating, leave a comment, because all that feedback really, really matters. And all proceeds from this podcast go to a scholarship pot. Music at Maddens will fund and has already funded scholarships for teenagers to attend masterclasses and summer schools for Irish traditional music and for the Irish language. So we want to help young people find their connection with music and the language and really to find their voice. That's what we're all about. And we're also about giving a platform to brilliant people who are part of the traditional music family from home, from right across Ireland and internationally. And this week we have brought New York to the snug. I am delighted to say, well, via Ardboe and Loughney, we'll have to, and maybe via Kerry as well in the mountains of Primroy, but we'll get to all of that in a minute or two. So welcome to Mickey Coleman and Erin Loughran. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Good to be here, Lynette.
Oh, it's just great to have you here.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was thinking, how do I start this conversation? Because there's so much I could talk to you individually about, and then I could talk to both of you about your experiences. And I think the only line that I can start this chat today with is, I wish I was singing with Mickey and Margie's girl down in Woodlawn with songs from home turned way up loud, the football and hurling on. That line, the opening line from Barry Kerr's Those Were the Days, because it's about you. You two were the reason that song was written.
That's
and
right.
Inspired Barry.
Those were the days too, yeah. Barry had spent a lot of time out in Woodlawn with myself. He was touring with Cara Dillon and a few odds at the time, but he would stop off in Woodlawn with me for a day or two and bounce around the bars and have a bit of crack. So the song tells it all, yeah. Yeah,
and Mickey and Margie's girl, that's you.
Yeah, we got him up to my mom's house to do some workshops, flute workshops. All the kids loved him. It was amazing. They idolized him and his music, so it was great to have him there.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's so lovely to kind of bringing you both together and placing you, because that song has taken on a new life in the last wee while there with Pierce Larkin and other, people coming to Barry's songs and then they understand who you are as well. We should tell our listeners and our viewers that you're over in the north this weekend for the John O'Neill weekend. So we've had quite a weekend.
It's not over yet, Lynette. It's not over yet.
And you were performing on Friday night yourself and Malachi Cush.
We'd done a concert up in the Bardic Theatre in Donegal, which was fantastic. It's been a while from I've done anything. So when Claire had asked me if I would do the gig, I said, you know what, I will do it. It'll be a good excuse to get home and get back into it again and see a lot of old friends and make a lot of new friends. So we've had a fantastic weekend so far. We're up at the concert last night, obviously, with Cahill and the boys. It was just mind-blowing stuff. But yeah, happy to be here. It's great to be back.
So what's it like to sing your songs and go back to your back catalogue then, to put a set list together to go on stage when it's something you don't focus on so much now in your life, Mickey?
Fair point. Actually, I was actually a bit nervous, and I'm not really the type of a nervous person, but we'd done a quick rehearsal on Thursday. We get in from New York, our flight was delayed, but we'd done a quick rehearsal, but I still wasn't 100% comfortable, and I said, just let it happen. It'll come together on the night. There was a lot of musicians on stage that I hadn't played with before, so I just said, I'll trust the process here. It turned out all right. I tried a couple of new songs that I've just written. And one called Sweet Tyrone that I kind of just wrote there a few months back, but I put it up on Facebook and it got a bit of attention. So it says, what better place to perform Sweet Tyrone than in Tyrone? So we're kind of clickish that road,
Was that the first public performance of that in Tyrone?
It was, yes. Ooh. It was. So I was very happy with that. But look, there's something about when you move away from home, I think you become more Irish in a way,
Yeah.
But it kind of strengthens your connection to home and your appreciation. I guess when you're kind of in it, you're not really looking at it much, But the reality is, when you go to the likes of the States or somewhere, and I was very fortunate to meet Erin and her family who are steeped in traditional music, and you see that you're like in a melting pot of ethnic diversity in the States, and these people are fighting to hold their own corner. They're keeping the music alive, they're keeping the language alive, the sports alive, and that's very impressive. When we're here, we don't really have that fight. You know what I mean? We're in it, we have it, we're surrounded with it. But when you go somewhere like New York and the States, and you see these people that are really trying really hard to preserve the culture and to bring it to the next stage, it's something else, and it's very, very important, because it makes people like myself, it gives us a spot that we can sit into and feel very comfortable.
And I know, Erin, your work in New York, you're from, is it Pearl River, just a wee bit upstate?
Yes, Rockland County.
So your daddy was from, or is
Pomeroy.
from Pomeroy, went to the States in the 80s.
Yes.
Your mummy, a Bronx woman, but parents from North Kerry.
Yes.
So still very, very close to home. Those connections were so close for you growing up.
Definitely.
So what was it like that, just in terms of identity? Mickey's talking about having it in the doorstep and not valuing it. I imagine you're coming at it from a different angle.
Yeah, it was definitely our outlet as kids, playing music. I played the fiddle, my sister Blaheen played the button accordion, and Nadine played the tin whistle and the guitar and sings. So it was important to us to keep it alive, going to our lessons every week, and then coming back to the Fleadh every summer was the highlight of our year. And I have to say, Scalatia was the best part of all of that, because we made lifelong friends there.
But not only for you was that just like a social thing and, a cultural connection, but you've actually completely excelled in music, Erin, and it's become your life. Your fiddle is your life.
Yes.
Can you talk to me about that, how that happened? Was it organic? Did you choose to really focus on it?
Definitely chose at a young age to focus on the fiddle. And then chose to go do it in college in the University of Limerick. I did the music course there. And then when I moved back to New York, I didn't really know what I was doing, which way I was going. So I started teaching fiddle lessons, and then just eventually ended up being a bigger thing than I ever thought it would be. The music school flourished, and
this is the Erin Loughran Music School. So
yes.
It's your own music school.
Yes, and ended up taking like 75 kids every summer back to the Fleadh.
That was some crack.
But even the fact that there was an appetite for that at that level is incredible, and that you started off your own music school because there was a demand for it.
Right, like the name and everything actually happened by accident. There was a parade, like the first ever St. Patrick's Day parade in Yonkers, and I needed a banner, and we were like, what are we putting on this banner? And somebody just said, just put the Erin Loughran School of Music. So that's how that happened. But we have the Martin O'Grady Cultus branch there. It's actually Michael Coleman, Martin O'Grady Cultus branch. So they were very supportive of the kids, hosting youth sessions every month for us, and we just had a really great community. So
my goodness. And to keep that going then, and the focus every year of coming back for the Fleadh, you're seeing this trickle down generation after generation now, but through your work, because how long has your music school been on the go now?
So since 2010.
My goodness, 15 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh, have you seen it change?
How have I seen it change? I mean, I've seen the kids come through it and grow up, and now they're teaching also. They're helping me teach. Some kids that I've seen had when they were like 5 and 6 years old, and now they're teaching the classes there. So I love that.
And do you gravitate towards a particular style of music, given that your parents are from North Kerry, or your mother has the North Kerry connection, and I know she's a brilliant musician as well?
Yes, that is a good question, because I always felt such a strong connection to like the Fleadh Lucra music, but then also the Tyrone musicians that I used to hang out with in Scalatia, like Maggie and Chris McGuire, Will Fermanagh, and then Paddy McKenna and young Stephen Hayden. So I always felt a strong connection to both types of music. And I guess my style would be a combination of both, like the Kerry and the Tyrone. And then also the the dominant style of fiddle playing in New York is the Sligo style. And my teacher, Rose Flanagan, and her brother, Brian Conway, they were big Sligo style fiddle players. So I have a little bit of that too.
I love it how it's a melting pot. It's fantastic. That makes it all more exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Couple of focal anish ó Lucht Urithe and Fád Craolta. Hatch on the Falls Road are proud sponsors of this week's Music at Maddens. Hatch is nestled along the charming Falls Road. It's not just a cafe, it's a thriving hub of warmth and community, and most importantly, exceptional food and drink. I know I have tried it many times, and Hatch manages to capture the essence of Ireland while adding this lovely unique twist using locally sourced ingredients that support farmers and producers, and the commitment to quality is what sets them apart and elevates a classic breakfast, lunch or dinner into a culinary experience. So beyond the delectable food and coffee, Hatch on the Falls Road is also a community space. It's where friends meet, families gather, and good conversations flow as freely as the coffee, and the welcoming atmosphere just invites you to sit back and relax and indulge in a little slice of life. So I encourage you all, if you haven't already, to visit Hatch on the Falls Road. Treat yourself to the best coffee and an unforgettable Irish breakfast. Experience the warmth of the staff, who are always ready to greet you with a smile and a recommendation. Avalon Guitars are proud to sponsor Music at Maddens. Still made by hand, still made to matter. And Avalon Guitars began with a simple belief that the soul of an instrument is shaped by the hands that built it. And in their workshop in Newton Ards in County Down, tradition and intuition guide every cut, carve and tap. There are no production lines, only luthiers, and every single piece of wood is chosen with care, every guitar voiced individually, every detail considered, not just for beauty, but for balance and for resonance and for feel. And Avalon guitars are played on stages and in studios across the world, but they're born in the quiet where craftsmanship still matters, built to last, built to inspire, built to become part of your story. AvalonGuitars.com for more details. It's great. And then even listening to you talking about, the Kerry and Tyrone, we know in terms of football, Mickey, as you well know, Mickey also, member of this team from Tyrone who went on to be, quite successful in the noughties. A couple of All-Ireland medals in his back pocket, you know what I'm saying? But, that rivalry grew hugely through that time, and then you go out to New York and you fall in love with a woman who has Kerry connections, and she has Tyrone connections as well.
You couldn't make it up.
You actually couldn't make it up, not at that time.
The story actually, so I was in New York for a few months, and then a good friend of ours, Joni Madden, who I'm sure all your listeners will know, great woman, Joni asked me to, Eddie Reader actually was unable to play on one of Joni's first cruises. So I meet Joni in the coffee shop in McLean Avenue in Yonkers, and I'd just come from training the New York senior team. I was only there like a wet few weeks, and I'd known Joni through mutual friends here at home, and she says to me, "What are you doing this weekend?" I says, "Not doing much, She says, "Oh, Eddie Reader's not able to make the cruise. You wouldn't want to fill in. Could you fill in for the week?" And this was music to my ears. I go, "What?"
And do you know Perfect and Find My Love and all those big hits that Eddie Reader had back in the day, Mickey?
No, don't.
You just
I only knew Philomena Begley.
Nothing wrong with that. She is
Big
the queen.
Tom, that's 100%. So anyway, I scrambled. I said, "Jesus, she's asked me to come on this cruise." So long story short, the next day, Joni was flying me down to Miami to get on a cruise. So I flew down with a good friend of ours, Pádraig Allen, from the McLean Avenue band, and I didn't know anyone. And we're standing to get on the ship, and this taxi pulls up, and out jumps Erin and her mother, and John Paul, her brother, and Nadine and Blahin, and all the rest. And Pádraig introduces me to them, But Erin was
keeping it all cool, were you?
Yeah, keeping her cool, 100%. But Erin jumps out with a fiddle case, and on the fiddle case there was a Tyrone sticker and a Kerry sticker. And I'm now going, Jesus Christ almighty, what is going on here now, And just going back to the football rivalry, there was always that thing. So I'm going, oh Jesus Christ, here we go again. But I honestly thought Erin was out with Mary Black, or was part of the band. Sharon Shannon was playing on that cruise, Mary Black, and all these big household names. So I just assumed that Erin was part of maybe one of those bands.
Yeah.
Then when we get on the ship, Erin and I met on the top deck. We got talking, and I seen the Tyrone sticker carrier, so made the kid say, so I'm a fast from Primrye, which is literally half an hour up the road from Ardboe, and I went, Jesus, you couldn't make this up. And then she chased me around the ship the whole week after that, so that's about the head of it.
Well, I was going to say, first of all, Mickey, she might have been one of the few people who understood you,
Well,
given that her
true.
father was from Primrye.
Very true,
Yes.
very true.
Very
No,
true.
actually, then we played that, we done a session the first night. There was Erin, an all good friend of ours, John Nolan, the box player, and a few of us, and we all played a few tunes and stuff. And then I remember calling a friend of mine. On the cruise ships, you don't get any service, so when you dock, you get all the service, So I remember calling a couple of friends of mine. You know, Erin Loughran, these people, Dylan Foley, and everybody's, oh yeah. And I went, I've been living under a stone for the last 10 years, or what's going on, But Erin, that cruise really obviously changed my life,
Yeah.
which was fantastic, and I met so many great people from that cruise, and we've been in every cruise every year since on Joni's cruise, and we've got the opportunity to play with some of the best musicians in the world, and it's just phenomenal, and they're great people. But it opened my eyes to a whole new, side of traditional music in terms of the Irish American side of it, with these phenomenal players that really, really love the music and are unbelievable. And I've been exposed to that, which was fantastic,
It just enriched you in so many ways. And it's interesting, Mickey, because, we were talking there about the football and, the whole rivalry with Tyrone and Kerry, and, it is a good laugh. But so much of your life was spent in the football field and training. Music was a part of your life, but it probably had to take, a sidestep for a wee while to focus on other things because the football was so demanding. So, in terms of your music, where did it come from? Where did you get it? How did you start playing music?
Good question. So, my grandmother, who was Maggie Sheehy, Maggie Coleman Sheehy, was a great lover of songs, and she always had music in her house and sessions, and the door was always open. It was a Keeley house, and I learnt a lot of my songs just in there growing up and not really understanding the value of what was actually happening at the time. It was only later years that I really fully understood that, but there was a lot of musicians coming in playing tunes and so on. So I learnt a lot of my music from those musicians coming in. Started on the banjo, then dropped that for a lot of years, and then went to the songs and singing, and then came back to the banjo once I met Erin, and back to the singing. So it's kind of ebbing and flowing. Yes, jack of all trades, the master of none. But it started. My grandmother.
Next one is going to be the bouzouki, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, that's the next project, you think, yeah?
I'm disaster. I get hooked on something for about a year, then go to the next one.
But I noticed that about you, because I noticed that when you did meet Erin, you took the bouzouki or the banjo particularly more seriously.
I bought it for him for his birthday that year.
Yeah, so and it's funny you're talking about styles there. So when Erin would teach me a tune, I would play it in the style that Erin taught it to me. So I'm a mongrel, I can't come home to Tyrone and say, oh, I'm playing a banjo like Cathal Hayden, or I'm playing a banjo. I'd be learning the tunes the way that Erin would be teaching them to me,
Yeah.
So any tunes that I learned before I met Erin, I play completely different to the tunes that I played that when Erin was teaching me. So yeah, I guess we were running the sessions every night of the week when we obviously weren't married and had no kids. So we were playing a lot of music, and it was so much fun. And that's when Barry was out and the crack was good, and we were running all over the place and doing gigs, and it was a great time,
But there was something in you there, and I interrupted you there. I got distracted with the banjo story, but you were going back to your granny and the songs in Ardboe, and it sounds to me that whenever you were out in America, then you realised the wealth of what you had been given already at home.
Absolutely, 100%. And then I started, I recorded, so The Turn of the Swallow, which Barry, my good friend, also recorded.
That's Barry Kerr.
Barry Kerr, by the way, yeah. And ironically, they were doing this in Maddens, because many's a night. This is probably the most sensible I've ever been in Maddens, just so you know, over the last 20 years.
It's as well we're recording it then, isn't it?
Oh my God, Jesus, I tell you, there was a few rough nights around this street. But anyway, yeah, so what happened, I started going back to the old songs, and I always recall, so The Turn of the Swallow was written by a man called Neely Coney. I grew up in a housing estate in Ardboe, Lakeview Cottages, and so did Neely lived there as well. Now, obviously much older than I was. Neely died when I was 10, but I remember him well. But not only do I remember Neely, all of Neely's sons and daughters. Like his son Martin coached me at football from his kids, so we all know each other. We're all neighbours. But I always remember the song being sang in my grandmother's house. My uncles would sing it, other folks would sing it, but I never really grasped the lyrics of it or anything else.
So why would you when you're that age?
Well, that's it. And he had written actually a lot of great songs, and I had this fear that these good songs would get lost. So I was home from the States, and I met his son Martin, and I says, Martin, listen, I'm recording a new album. I've one spot left. I obviously had recorded all my own stuff, and I says, I'd love to get your father's song, The Turn in the Swallow. And his mother was still alive, Mary Ellen, and I says, do you think I could get the lyrics of it? And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I'm going to be all American here, through the mailbox, came the lyrics, handwritten by Mary Ellen. And I still have it, and I thought it was very precious. Now, I couldn't find any recordings of the melody, but I knew how it had went, you know. So I went down to Philadelphia to Gabriel Donoghue, and him and I sat and worked out a chord progression for it, and the melody was kind of there anyway, you know, of the song, but we kind of worked a chord progression around it and recorded it, and then it exploded. Like, I remember Barry Kerr called me and said, listen, Barry was playing with Kerr at the time. He says, Kerr's going to do that song, and then Barry recorded it, and it's, thank God it revived the song again, you know, but it's a beautiful song, and it's very close to people, you know, from the Loch Shore, like, because it's, you know, it has that earthiness about it. It's you know, it's a minory type of song, but you can feel, it's hard to explain. You can, like, even though I didn't write the song, when I sing it, I just feel like I'm home, you know what I mean?
Couple of focal inis ó lucht orithe na seachtain seo Music at Maddens. Some words from our sponsors this week on the podcast, and they say there's music in every pint. Smithwick's has been brewed in Kilkenny since 1710. It carries centuries of craft, a ruby red ale with notes of caramel, roasted malt, poured smooth and rich, and it's the taste that's been part of Irish sessions for generations, where stories are told and music is made. So whether you're at Maddens or listening from home, raise a glass and let the tradition play on. Smithwick's is brewed true and shared together, and please drink responsibly, for over 18s only. But even now when you sing it though, because you've immigrated and because you live in America now, like when you were standing on the stage of the Bardic the other night singing that song, what does it feel like now to sing it? And also to know that the work that you put into it is bringing it to different audiences?
Listen, the Donegal the All Night was something very special for me, because again, I hadn't done a concert maybe since my whole health thing, and you know, the focus had shifted a little bit, but just getting back there were so many things the All Night that just ticked all the boxes. Like, you know, there was people there from County Down, a lot of Tyrone people obviously, but just the warmth of the place, you know what I mean? It's like, we're a special breed, believe it or not. We might want to tell each other that, but there was something very special about it. Even last night, you know, you're looking up there and you've this great sense of pride about what we're actually doing, you know. It's phenomenal stuff, like, it really is. But just to go and play that gig, and just to feel the warmth of the people, to sing the songs and be so well, you know, accepted. It's just, I'm telling you right now, it's just, I guess stepping out of it and going back into it, you can see that, but it was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it, and I walked away thinking, you know, this is probably where I'd like to be.
You were on stage with Mickey the other night as well, Erin. Whenever you see him performing like that, you know, what's that like for you? Because I know he's taken a back seat from music in the States at the moment because of work and other commitments. Life gets busy. It's still very much your life and to the forefront of everything you do. But when you see him in that moment, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I was very proud of him on Friday night. I thought he sang very well, and I loved the songs that he sang. And when he sings about home, he even gets a little bit emotional sometimes.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah.
So,
big ball of mush, Mickey.
no, but do you know what it is? Like, I'm sure a lot of listeners know that I had a heart attack 4.5 years ago, and something clicked inside me after all that. I became a real emotional roller coaster. Like, I'd be listening to songs and I'd start welling up. I'd be getting all these old fuzzy feelings, and I'd be like, I genuinely do, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem with it. It just becomes a little bit difficult at times when you're performing and you get absorbed in the song and the meanings of the song. I actually do become emotional for some reason or another, and I don't know why that. started to happen all of a sudden. But it really does. But I like the fact that it happens. Just being able to control it to a certain extent.
Given what you've been through and what both of you have been through, because you were the one who had the widowmaker heart attack. And I don't want to go into the details of it, because to bring you back into those terrible moments of your lives. But when something like that is so huge and life-changing happens to you, you can't be but changed after it.
100%.
Because it has impacted every aspect of your lives.
In
that moment, in the days after, the months after, and even now when you look back, it's bound to have.
Oh, it does. But, it obviously has a big impact. You learn a lot. There's a lot of learning. A lot of us are going around our busy lives, and all of a sudden you get punched in the nose, and it's a wake-up call. And it's the best thing. It sounds so counterintuitive, but it's the best thing ever happened to me, because you learn a lot about yourself, And I said, it took me 41 years to figure out who Mickey Coleman actually was, without getting too mushy about it. But, certain things, when something like that hasn't happened to you, you're chasing it, and you're going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then something like that happens, you take a step back and you realise, maybe things that we thought were important just aren't that important anymore. And, it's a reset kind of thing. But, like, going back to the music, like, music's been a massive part of our lives, It's in our house. We both played. The kids are now starting to play again, or they're starting to learn to play. But, it's always, there's instruments lying around the house. We have a music room. There's a piano, there's accordion, there's banjos, there's fiddles. People come in, you just lift the fiddle. So, and that's how we wanted to be. Music was a big part of recovery for me, and it still is, it's still a big part of it.
There's a line here just at this is the book you've written about everything that happened to you, and this really jumps out here. Pulse is the story of survival and awakening. Mickey brings us on a journey back from death, the journey which helps us to understand our own lives we fail to protect and nourish and enrich every day by failing to play our own music. That line, failing to play our own music.
Yeah.
And I know we're talking here about the importance of music. Did your relationship change? Like Erin, you were on the sidelines of all of that too, probably feeling really helpless because you can't help him. The doctors need to do all that. How did you come through it?
I got very well educated on all the medical terms, and I felt like I had to be his advocate and kind of very protective of him at that time. I had to write down everything because I couldn't remember like the different terms for all the different conditions that he had at that time.
About getting it wrong.
Yeah, so I wrote down every doctor that came in, every condition, like the kidneys, the liver, everything goes when the heart goes, So there was all that, and then just making sure that the kids were kind of sheltered from what was going on. They thought that Mommy and Daddy were on vacation for a long time, and that I didn't like the shower at the hotel, so I was just coming home to use our shower. But thank God it all ended up okay, and we came through, and I think it was, like he said, it was a wake-up call and something that
it's like Erin was phenomenal. Like, it was, I don't mean it was easy for me, but I didn't have to think much, I just had to get better. But like
you were in it.
I was in it, yeah. But the strength that Erin, like the strength that she showed, not even just at that time, like even after I had to go through a long period of rehab to get back on my feet again, like.
Yeah, and you're really honest in the book as well, because you say, even at home you were insufferable.
Oh my
and
God,
the short temper, things like that, but you're trying to find yourself back again, dealing with that level of frustration because you're not the Mickey you used to be, and you want to be back where you were in 2 seconds, and there's all that you're fighting through. Meanwhile, you're in the sidelines going, come on, I'm on your side. But there's still that.
But she's going to get the brunt of it too at the same time, But
yeah, because you love her and she's closest to you.
Oh my God, like, this is what I'm saying, like, even though it was a horrible time in our lives, there was so much learning for the both of us, and we come out the other side of it, and it's so much better when you do that. I think when you get through them struggles and tough times like that, it really tests you, and it, the real part, like, just to use the metaphor of Wayne Dyer, who also, that's where I get to play your music.
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer has this metaphor that if you squeeze an orange, what comes out of it, and obviously it's not apple juice or grapefruit juice, it's orange juice 100%. So, be very careful what you think about, because when the pressures of life squeeze you, what's going to come out of you? If it's going to be anxiety, blah, blah, blah. But you know, when we were squeezed, a lot of really what was in there came out, and that goodness came out. And like Erin had that strength to, like, she was pulling me, like I wasn't fit to do nothing. And like she was cooking and just looking after, making sure the kids were protected and everything. You know, it was a very tough time, and testament to Erin for, you know, she led the way in all of that, because I wasn't fit.
Well, I have to say the Irish American community in New York, where we live, Pearl River and Woodlawn, are incredible, and they really all come together when something happens to any of them. So they were extremely helpful. Rockland GAA was bringing food. All your friends were calling in, like trying to get him out. Somebody was telling him he should try and take a pickleball.
That's right.
Which
that didn't go down too well. Going from Gaelic football to pickleball, you know. You did pansy that for me. But
you
yeah,
never know.
that's right.
Might
Like, the
still
people,
happen.
I'm telling you right now, the support that we got in them times were phenomenal. The people, we were getting letters from Australia, like from England.
Oliver
O'Connell, who a lot of your listeners might know, Blackie. So Blackie's father, Oliver, had went through a difficult period of time, and he sent me this beautiful, oh my God, it was when things were very tough, he sent me this beautiful letter about, you know, his experience, and that the tsunami had come and had left a trail of destruction, and let's forget about that and let's just move past all of that. And a great insight from someone like Oliver, just to give me, and I got real comfort out of that letter, and I still have it in the house. And from time to time, if there's a tough day or two, I still take a read at it. But very
it
special.
helps to hear from someone who's been in something just as serious, and you know, there's hope. And trying to even focus yourself on that hope. And like music, then, Erin, at that time, did you have time for it? Did it take on a different resonance, a different meaning in your life?
Yeah, well, it was definitely put on pause for a little while.
Yeah.
I became actually a vegan chef during that time. Yeah, Mickey went totally plant-based vegan, and so that was our focus during all of that, the new recipes and how to cook without oil, or, you know, keeping that healthy lifestyle to get him better to where he needed to be. So music took a little bit of a backseat, but we came back to it. And
We had a couple of years that just to get things back on track, but the truth be told, we're really only starting to get back at it again probably in the last year.
And I think it'll only go up and up because the kids are playing now. So once they start the Fleadhs and the festivals, and
Or should they just take over? You forget about it, take a back seat there, Mum and Dad. Good luck.
That's it. And I'm worried about that part of it.
And I'm just laughing here because the two boys are up behind us in one of the booths, and they've got in true Irish style, they've got fizzy juice and crisps.
The bag of potatoes getting a rattling up there, and
the crisps are getting a rattle here,
and I can see the sound man going.
But it's so funny. I can see the daggers here from the two of you, and I'm not one bit bothered. But it's so funny because I'm just thinking, you know, with having the two boys here in the room as well as you're talking there, children are the great leveler. You know, no matter what you're in, your focus just goes straight to them. Like, and you almost forget about, even though there's really important things going on with you, your focus just does go to them, doesn't it?
100%. Fantastic. These boys have been trailed around with us back and forth. We were driving down
rattling
here.
bags or not.
We're traveling. He goes, Mom, how many times have we been in Ireland this year? You know, that's the worst New York accent you'd ever get, but they've been here 3 times this year already, between the All-Ireland football final. We come every year for that. Easter, and we try and get back as much as we can because we want them to be a part of it. You know, Erin's mother's moved back to Kerry now as well, so, you know, there's an excuse now to get back. Even though we haven't been to Kerry, but
more than an excuse, that's a massive pull for you. I'd say that was a big move.
It was a big move. I was like, thanks a lot, Mom. Yeah, we need your help over here in New York. But no, it is a good excuse to get back to Kerry. We love Kerry. We got married in Kerry, so yeah, we'll have to get down there a little more often now. It's been a lot of Tyrone in the last couple of years, but that's okay.
Oh, poor Erin.
yes, it's hard done by Inzi. Yeah.
Poor Erin. But you know, when you mentioned your mummy, and then your brother John Paul, is an absolutely phenomenal musician as well as John Paul Reynolds. What are family get-togethers like?
They're great. A lot of fun. John Paul is a wizard, and he just is just immersed in it, his new band and his other bands and all that. But he leads the way in the family get-togethers now. He'll get everybody going because that's all he wants to do 24 hours a day is play. So it's good to have him when he comes to New York. He's staying with us right now in New York, actually. So
that must be great to have him around with the kids as well.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. The only problem I don't like with John Paul, he keeps tuning my guitar to different tuning, and that's a problem.
Don't mess with Mickey's guitar, man.
Yeah. I'm only joking. He'd hear that, he'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
And then, you know, when you're talking about the boys starting to play music, now you're the expert here, Erin, in nurturing children and bringing them on and playing music.
Lynette, on the way down the road, listen to me now. She's bribing them. She says, "Micheál, I'll give you $20 for every tune you memorise." And then Reardon pops up and he says, "Oh, do I get 22? So 20." I says, "Oh, that's a bit much to memorise now. I tell you what, I'll memorise a few tunes for $20.
We'd be starting them here at 50p, Erin.
$20 a tune. I wonder where that's coming from.
Got to give Jim McKee credit for that idea. That was his idea. He does that with his son, Sonny, plays the banjo. And he said, I give him £20 for every tune he memorizes. I was like, that's a great idea. I gotta start
idea.
that. Yeah. it's a good incentive.
I'd maybe learn 5 tunes a week.
But surely you wouldn't be doing that with the kids in the
music school. No, oh my gosh.
Should be battering them. Should be tough. I'm telling you right now.
No, the kids, they're great kids. They like to practice for the most part, and you know, it's all about getting into the Ceilidh band. That's their main priority. They all want to get into the band. There's only 10 spots. So that's a real driving force for them to practice there.
Fantastic. And what is it like then, had that focus of trying to get over to the All-Ireland Fleadh, then Fleadh, Coleman and Erin in August? Is that the highlight of the whole year? And when does that focus begin?
That's the goal, yeah. And it really starts as soon as we get back. In September, we start thinking about forming the bands and the groups for the next Fleadh. And that's what keeps the kids practicing, you know, and thank God for the Fleadh. I don't know what would be their driving force when they're young, you know, to keep practicing, but they're mostly all Irish American. They all want to get here for the summer and see their friends and family. And it's really a great goal to work towards for them. So
Belfast next year then, does that take on a different kind of motivation because it's in a different place? It's been Wexford for the last couple of years. Belfast's a wee bit different?
It's a little different, but you know, we've been bringing the kids to my students have been going since Derry. What was that, 2013?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the Pearl River School of Music, which is my mom, her school, we've been going since we were kids. I think our first was Listowel, maybe. And so it's been every single year. You know, it doesn't matter where it is we're going. Maybe someday it'll be like somewhere nice like Greece or Italy.
Belfast.
You never know. I think Belfast is as exotic as it's going to get for now, Erin. And that will be exotic. But surely for you, Mickey, that must be quite special that the Fleadh is going to be in Belfast next year.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Yeah, for the rooms booked already. My good friend up at the Regency Hotel is taking care of us there, Anthony. So, but unbelievable. But I think Erin kind of underplays it a little bit. When I first met Erin, and obviously she had the school going at that stage, between her mother, the Pearl River School of Music, the Erin Loughran School of Music, probably 100 kids flying back. And Derry that year in particular, but we've been to Sligo, Ennis, we've been to them all. Like the sheer dedication, like there's fundraising that has to happen. Like these kids don't fly for free, you know.
Yep.
Accommodation, like some of them going to Scalatia for the week. Like it's a massive expense. These people have been fundraising. Like one of the big, it was over the Mother's Day. It used to be our Father's Day weekend, and Rory Dolan's up in Yonkers there. Would have a big fundraiser. They'd be roasting a pig. People would be coming. You know, 50-50 draws, bands, everybody, community is chipping in to raise money
to make this happen.
To make it happen, like it's a community absolutely coming together, phenomenal. And Land and Derry and then there was one year, going to see a Sligo where we also had the group of Kjols back, and the Ceilidh band. Like that's a lot of kids, you know, and looking after all that, tough going, big expense, and then for some astonishing reason, we decided then one year we'd do a senior Ceilidh band for some reason. That was a whole other story. So we had that on top of Not only...
I think that was just a bucket list job, that,
I
Mickey,
don't know,
was it?
I definitely shouldn't have been in that stage, that's for sure. That's for sure.
That was a good time. We had a band in every age category.
Yeah, that's right. So that was a bit of fun. Was that Sligo?
Yeah, I think
It
so.
was Sligo.
Yeah,
Good crack. But
that's
the crack
also
was
a
good.
major achievement for you and everything you've done in the school, like, and given that gift of music and that gift of connection to Ireland, to the kids, you know, who maybe are a wee bit removed from it. It makes them feel closer to it.
Yeah, definitely. Like some of them say they have their normal friends and their music friends. I'm like, stick with the music friends. They're your lifelong friends, you know?
Yeah, that comes through on this podcast time and time again, about that sense of community, you know, meeting people from not just all over the country, as you two prove, you know, all over the world. You can go and find friends if you've just got your instrument in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found that that's been the case for you, Erin?
Definitely. Yes. My best friends I grew up playing music with, and the people that I still, you know, connect with through music are the ones I went to Scalatia with, and, you know, Willie Week and all the different festivals around the country.
Yeah, oh, the connections are brilliant. You were talking about writing songs earlier there, Mickey, and you mentioned the song Sweet Tyrone, and I didn't want to go into the story of it there in that moment, because I felt that we needed to tell the story of your heart attack, and then, you know, how life has changed for you after that. It's a beautiful song, and we'll take on I think a Tyrone County anthem. I think we've got one.
so.
We've got one in the making here. I do feel that. But tell me how the song came about.
Funny, I told this story the other night. So when I had my heart attack, and obviously it was at the tail end of COVID, so had really no visitors, and I remember with all these crazy thoughts. I remember when I was coming off the ventilator and kept saying to myself, if I get out of here, I'm going to change everything. Because what I'd done, built a company, and you're out the door at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're back in at 10 o'clock at the night, you're doing everything to make it, you know, chasing the dream, let's say, for the want of a better word. And we had done all that, and all that was taken care of. And I says to myself, I've never put my kids to school, you know.
Something so simple, but something so huge in their lives.
Unbelievable. So I made a promise to myself, you know what, that's what you're going to do. And almost 5 years on, I haven't missed a day, thank God. So I put them to school 3 days a week. Erin and I kind of alternate, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's my job. Instead of going to work, and I'll get the kids ready for school and put them on the bus. And the last 4.5 years have been amazing, because I hear more between 7 a.m. and...
That's when you get the crack.
Oh my God, just unbelievable. So that was probably wonder where this is going, how the song came about. How it came about then was, we'd sit waiting for the bus, and we have a little music room in the house, the front room, and there's a little baby grand piano, and Michal would have the button accordion, and he'd be playing on the piano, and Reardon would be footering on the fiddle, and this is like 7:15 in the
Just
morning.
thinking of all those $20 bills.
And we'd just be, but we were sitting, and I think Michal was on the piano, and I started to lift the guitar, and I just started to hum like a melody, and Michal says to me, who sings that song, Dad? And I says, I don't know yet. Who sings it? So it just, like, this melody came into my head, and then we're up in the morning, and I just came, when I wake up in the morning, and it just kind of started. And then we kind of just started bouncing, me and my 7-year-old and 10-year-old just started bouncing off each other. And that's so true, like. And then I just started writing a lyric to it about, you know, I guess I'm very nostalgic in a way. Like, I always think of home. Like, and I'm sure a lot of people that have emigrated are the same, you know. I understand New York is where my wife and kids and my family are, and that's probably where I will be for the rest of my days. But my home is Tyrone, you know. It's Ardboe, so you know, that always is a special kind of meaning. And you know, when you get up in the morning and you're heading into New York City, and you know, you're 5 hours behind, and people here in the middle of their day, and you know, my parents, you're thinking, what are they doing? What's my siblings at? You know, and like, them kind of thoughts, they don't leave you, like, you know, they're passing thoughts, like. So that kind of was, you know, the emphasis on the song, you know, like you're still, your heart's at home, you know, that kind of way. So I started writing the song, and then would kind of nail down the melody, and then the next day would say, all right, we'll do the next verse, and then Loch Ness came into it, and then the hills and the glens, and then all of a sudden, then it just, and then I remember finishing the song. I think it was one Saturday or Sunday, we were just bouncing around the house, and I had the guitar, and I was bouncing lyrics off Erin, and the boys said, no, Dad, that's not a good lyric, and then there was 3 or 4 different versions, and then we ended up just settling on a song, and that's it. The reality was, it was a very simple song to write. It's a very simple melody, and I guess sometimes the simple songs are, you know, they come very quick, you know.
And the ones maybe that make the connection come very quick as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And I noticed it's been, I was just checking here, it's been 2013 was the last album, Mickey. That was Last Glance.
Last Glance,
It's a long time, and a lot has happened. Has your relationship with music changed in the last 4.5 years? And will you go back recording again now that you're back?
I will do another album. I have a lot of stuff in my head, but here's the problem, right? We obviously run a construction company in New York City. It takes we employ a lot of people, and it's very full on, you know. And we've a lot of great people that work for us that take care of a lot of things. But when I start writing albums, everything stops.
Yeah.
I just lock myself in the room, and the place would just fall to ruin. So I have to be very careful, you know.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that.
Maybe just not right now.
Maybe just not right now. I have a lot of stuff in my head that I want to get on paper and get writing again. So I'm hoping that maybe in the next year I will definitely get something down.
Yeah.
And get something out there. Yeah, I would like to do something very simple. Like, I love listening to like Niall Hanna, who's an all Lochshore man. Just think his music's so beautiful. Like, it's just his songs that he's writing, and just the stripped back kind of nature of it all. It's just it really, you know, you see the purity in him. Like, it's phenomenal. Like, you know, and obviously comes from great stock, but it's just, you know, people like that don't come around too often.
I think it's lovely that the attention and respect is there for the old songs, but yet you feel it with your own experiences that there's still something to say, and you can add to these stories and always adding to the annals.
Obviously, meeting Erin introduced me to a whole other side of the music. Like, you know, I was more into the singing, folk, and all that kind of stuff. But like, the amount of people that I've got to meet, and like just look at last night's concert in Galway, for example, with Cathal. Like, Cathal has become a very good friend of mine through another friend of mine, Fleadh Evelyn from Pomeroy, who's in New York. And like Cathal, I've gotten to know Cathal really well over the last 10 years. But just watching that last night and seeing the quality on that stage, and like they finished with the Mountains of Pomeroy, which is obviously very close to Cathal and Stephen, you know.
It's the national anthem.
Oh my God. But just, you could see every ounce of emotion flowing through that man and through the bow, and it was just, I said to the guys after, like, you're never going to see that in your life again. Them gathering of musicians in the one place, but just the sheer emotion that was driving through them, that music last night was very, very special, you know. And I was just so privileged to be there watching it. I just thought it was unbelievable, you know. And I think, you know, people like Cathal Hayden, who are absolute treasures to Tyrone and to the music of the North, like, you know, just them guys don't come around too often, you know. And I just think it's a very special thing. Neither
does Mickey Coleman, do you know? Neither does Erin Loughran. And that's why it's just been so good because I know it wasn't easy for you to come here today, and you had to take time out and make a big effort to come here with the boys as well, coming so shout out to Micheál and Reardon, who are in the background.
Hope the rattling of them potatoes.
The rattling, everyone was getting a choir rattle. There's not a parent in the country doesn't understand your plight right now. No, but it's just been, we could sit and talk, we could do this conversation a different way 50 times over, but it's just been great to talk to both of you, and hopefully it's the first of many we'll have here in the Snug and Music at Maddens. Thanks so much for taking the time. Erin Loughran, Mickey Coleman, Gurmila Mahigaf.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynette.